Okay, so like you're asking, when we're in a long or looking, I think, was I in a long here? Yeah, I was in a long and we were looking for,
Uh,
or did
I
it,
was looking for one
you
when
were
I
looking for
saw
one.
that
Okay,
first one
okay,
happen.
okay. So these, obviously, these candles, or maybe not so obviously, they're colored based on the delta inside of them. And so this is a 30-second chart. And I look at delta three ways really. I look at it in a 750 volume. I look at it in 512 trades. Um, so there's a 512 trade volume looking for delta, and then I look at delta through the lens with like time, which is what we get with this chart. Um, so when obviously they basically, buyers were incentivized. This box was kind of the edge of value and the edge of a volume, node of volume from yesterday.
Hmm.
And so, um, if you think about it, like it basically, I don't know what the volume looks like up through here. I think it actually looked something like, oh shoot, because this is pertinent to answering the question. So let's say the volume from yesterday looks like this, right? Something like that. And this area is where value starts, right? Um,
Good.
so getting over the high volume edge of this bottom chunk, as well as getting inside of value, is the idea on the long side trade. That's why wherever I was long from in there or something, we had aggressive buy come in to push us up, and then we had the chance to trade it, or maybe it was wherever it was. When they sold this off, it
Yep.
reminded me of yesterday, because you'll see a lot of times when it almost like, this isn't the way it is, but when it feels like that was such an easy setup. That was just like simple, easy breezy. And sometimes they go, but a lot of times I have this little thing inside of me that says like, if it was that easy, it's probably going to get contested. That's why I mentioned the idea that I wasn't super confident that entry was going to be the one, but I was just going to give it a chance. When they push down like this accomplished nothing, in my opinion, other than sweeping stops, which I was a part of. But if you think about it, like even in the microstructure, right? Okay, this is the move to the high. Um, this is the move that brought you to the high. So needing to close below and like get traction below here is what matters. Well, they sold it super aggressively, and what did we see on the bid side? We saw 100 and what is that? 130, 140, 18, 20, and 50 get just those were market sales that just got met with a willing buyer sitting there with the coffin open saying put it in.
Mhm.
No acceleration below, and immediately rebounding not only above the OR high, but also if you remember this 5750 was our midpoint, like pivot spot coming into
Yep.
this day as well. So as soon as we started to get traction back above, all I didn't have a size points. I was looking at the nature of the lows that had brought us to local swings, and then I just wanted to see us get some interaction back inside of this edge so that it was believable to rotate up. So it was more the seller's reoffer. I mean, look at this: no large orders, no massive delta, nothing special in this area. Where if you were a seller that started this move, you are going to want to reoffer this here, and then kind of see some swift action through the low. And that as soon as like you looking at the footprint chart and looking at this, like it really wasn't. it was like a little liquidity break that didn't really accomplish anything structurally. They lost steam right where they needed to gain steam. And then we rolled right back to, you know, our little shelf of like, hey, anything above here is kind of leaning to the bullish side. So it
Hmm.
wasn't a it's not ever a distance. It's much as like in my mind I'm trying to contextualize everything that's happening and be like and then make a calm, reasonable decision. And I think the work of knowing that like I'm leaning on this is not just as OR high, but as that pivot, and then also having the awareness of where value from yesterday was. And again, wanting to see like coming into this news, like buyers really are incentivized to hold this. If they lose that, they probably are going to be. It's going to be a really bad look um, for this move. I don't find it super healthy if they lose this and this. Like I wouldn't want to be trying to stick bid this. I'd want to still wait to recover this area um, before moving on. I don't know. It was a long-winded answer. Is that kind of the thing? Like help kind of paint the picture. Like it's more
No,
about the
I think
context.
so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, when you see this kind of selling, bam, 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 like it needs to then be able to easily follow through. If you look at this buying, like aggressive buying, and then pretty much just, we continued, and then we were met up here with the problem. So if you flip this stretch over, that's kind of what you would want this to look like. They took it right up here, um, kind of through, I think, a prior session's high or something. There's the news 10 a.m. I think that news dropping, holding this value area low, if buyers should be able to capitalize on that, and they're pretty incentivized to see this pretty strong upside move. I think everything in here was trying to sell this below value. Um,
Hmm.
so, I mean, your next target is all these wicks. Well, to me, this looks like low resistance liquidity that's there for the taking through 529. And then you have, something that's harder to get to, but this is not the safest look, I guess. Like those are relatively equal highs, and that could very well be the kind of if this doesn't satisfy, then like that's definitely the next real big spot. Without looking at like an hourly chart. But yeah, I mean you have that run of highs. So really like you want to run that and that, and then after that, like what's left, right? You're gunning for these equal highs. So you can go to a 30-minute and it paints the same picture. I mean, it's not always the case, but like this type of move is just waiting to get its teeth kicked in because everyone's trailing stops here or trailing stops here, and then I mean, once they start, it's like a chain reaction, just blah 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 blah. Look at a footprint chart right now; it's probably awful looking, but it's also probably hilarious that it just yeah, it looks terrible and it's just slid through all of that. So this is the gap fill from yesterday. 22 was a key spot. Um, Now we filled that gap, but I'm saying we then gave that up in the afternoon and got back below it. Again, from even a 4 hour picture, kind of paints a lot of this to me as vulnerable. Like this drifty leg down is just it reminds me of this drifty leg up, right? So there's not a specific setup for that. Like I don't have as soon as I see this, then I'm doing whatever. But you can see it here too. Like we make all these tidy little lows and then demolish them, and then demolish them, and then not saying that it happens, but that's what this looks like to me. Where you get this real one-way train just wrecking that. just because of the nature of how we trade it, right? We bring our stops to that 4 hour swing, this 4 hour swing. I mean, that's safe and it works until it doesn't. Um, let's look at UB. Look at UB. Bet J Max field day and Bear or Rick. I mean, are they around? Neither one of them are around. They probably already made way too much money this week. J Mac's been killing it, and UB, man, it's making me want to trade it a little bit. So we had the news at 10, right? And that springboarded. You know, the only thing to do there would have been a blind market buy to try to be a part of this, or to try to hold on, like having not scaled that, try to hold on through that. That's just not really my style. We did get that.
No,
We did get these little auctions cleaned up, which I anticipated would probably happen. But
stupid news screwed me again here.
yeah, it's
The one I wanted again would have been at 67 on that retest of the 30-second flag.
yep. Yeah, well, they're not going to be that. Well, you know, you could have just like again, and who wants to market smash 30 seconds before news? But
Exactly.
because the two things I will say is um I got some of the worst. I was in a trade into news a few weeks ago, and I got the worst slippage of my career. Do you remember that?
Was it more than 100 points? I think that's about the worst I've gotten.
Oh no, I didn't get 100 points of slippage, but no. This was on a stop, right? Like I had an entry, an exit, and a stop, and the stop was what obviously slipped, and it was bad, dude. It was like, what was it, like
Yeah,
14 or 17 points, and my whole thing was like, I'm gonna hold this trade into news because, you know, I gotta stop at break even. It's
you have a
fine.
good entry. Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't usually do that. I shouldn't have done it. That's what like keeps me off of news, man. It's just so it's like a dice roll.
That's where like the back testing can get you in trouble too when you're not testing in
Mm-hmm.
like live environments. Because
Yep.
I was testing an idea of just using buy stops like 5 points above and below the current auction on, I think it was on ES, saying like when the news hits, it'll just fill me on the way up. It'll look great when back testing it. As soon as I try to
Yep.
deploy it live, I got filled 100 points above my target, stopped out immediately.
Yep. Look at that though. I mean, we had almost equal highs on the 30-minute chart here, and that was also that. This is gonna get nasty. This will be gnarly probably till lunchtime, and I don't see. That is savage. um, but it's so interesting, you know. It's like just grindy drift, and then it's like what, and that's the thing with like news too. I think it's beginning to become somewhat aware of that. Is we're going to use the news to, like, that is almost a liquidity event, right? So we take all of this because these people were safe for a couple hours, and then turn around and just Hideo silver through all of this. So anyone who was trailing a stop thinking, oh, if we get another, what if we get down here and clean up that or whatever, like, not going to happen. Now, it wouldn't be a good look for buyers not to go ahead and go get that. For like, if you're confident in the buy side, that's what you want to see taken before this day's over, in my opinion. You know,
And I think I gotta wait. Is that, or is that 665s?
I want to. Well, I said you really don't. You want to see
590.
83 to 87. I mean, I'm not thinking in terms of big picture, but yeah, there is some stuff at 630 and 665 that is a big, would be big. This weekly midpoint's a pretty big deal. Which actually that makes me think of old ES over here, the forgotten child. Um, ES that 766, that was the high yesterday. That we these are old. Um, that was yesterday. That was the target. But you remember Banks was like, when ES gets up to 66, you need to be careful if you're long. I'm like, obviously,
Mm-hmm.
that was good advice. But now we're coming back up to test it. And we already tested it. So ES, I guess the case for NQ getting to here is ES recovering this weekly midpoint and bidding, and then bidding through some of this. Maybe this is like just another massive run, and that gets NQ to challenge into this midpoint area of this. But short of that, I think you know they got a lot done of what they wanted to get done as far as liquidity goes. So it would be back to watching session to session for me, or like micro session at this point. If I were going to continue trading, be looking at um, this area is still kind of the main pivot for NQ for me. And I think TPO or TPO wise, um, you know, your best look would be just basically staying kind of off this ledge here. So is this 24 to 35?
Oh, god damn it. I was looking at stock charts and missed another entry.
Yeah, that one was basically a flag and the top of value from yesterday.
Yeah. We're holding above
Yep.
yesterday's New York PM session.
I sure hope that I actually remembered to record after we had the video problem that morning prep, because this is kind of exactly how we talked about it. To go check. Well, it's going to bother me to not know. I just need to go ahead and know if I suck or not. All right. What's today's date? The 4th. No, the 5th. All right. I have 2 videos from the 5th. Fingers crossed. All right. Excited to be on the shop side for this.
I know you'd
Value
started
and
again
know
at least
exactly
when
how it's going to
we were
pan out till we
explaining
see
that.
what the open. Yeah, we got it. We got it,
Um,
baby.
yeah.
Let's go. I'm going to go ahead and rename this so I don't accidentally delete it. Boom. What is this one? Okay, so like when we oh, that's weird. Strange. Okay, we'll rename this. Contextualizing. There. Oh,